back to you, Geoff.
Thank you, John. So today we're talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger's Blueprint to Mass training program. So we're going to go over the sets, the reps, the overall structure of the program, the high-intensity techniques that they use, and I'm going to tell you if the program is good or bad. It's bad. Just throwing it out there really early, it's bad. But analyzing why it is bad and its overall badness can be very educational, and I hope you learn something in this video. So first, let's go into the high-intensity methods, because that's just the order that it is written in the program. So first, they have the 1-10 method, and this is where, after a warm-up set or two, find a weight, you're only able to get 1 rep. Okay, so you're already maxing out, and by the way, they advocate this on curls, standing barbell curls. So you do 1 rep max. Then you take weight off and do 2 reps, then 3, then 4, then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, there are a bunch of problems with this. First, when you're training for mass, especially on an isolation movement, a 1 rep max makes no sense at all. And I like drop sets, but they make sense for slightly higher reps. 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, that is not actually building up the fatigue and the metabolic stress. That is the whole point of a drop set. Plus, you need to try to predict out in advance what you're going to get. So it's not just a double and then a triple and a quadruple. You have to think, after an all-out single on curls, what could I do 2 reps for? So let's say you start at 70 kilos. What do you say? Okay, maybe I'll do 65 for the double, 60 for the triple, 55 for the set of 4. It's very hard to predict out in advance. Plus, the whole point of a drop set is to accumulate fatigue. Therefore, you have to change the weights quickly. So you have to prepare in advance. What can you do for a set of 10 after doing those 9 sets before? That does not make any sense. Plus, if you're using an easy curl bar, what are you going to do? Put 10 2.5 kilo plates per side? Good luck with that. Number 2, you have the stripping method.
Your English is off.
And the shocking principle.
Wait. Are you?
Immediately after your final work set, take some weight off and get 5 to 10 reps. Then with no rest, keep repeating, reducing your weight until you're down to the bar, wrapping that for just 20 reps. So this might be effective, but again, 1, it's total overkill, and the majority of people doing this program absolutely do not need it. Second, you need to predict how much weight to take off to get you into that 5 to 10 rep range. This is not always easy. Plus, it doesn't say exactly how much weight to take off, and you're not actually sure how many sets you're going to do. This is absolutely overkill, not really needed, and combined with the overall volume of the program, as you'll see later, is just not needed. Number 3, you have max effort. So basically, you're maxing out on a given lift. It says do a set of 20, then 15, 10, 8, 5, 3, 1, 1, and then max. So I'm not completely opposed to this, but in general, maxing out, especially a 1 rep max, is not a great idea if you're training for mass, for hypertrophy. So just throwing in a 1 rep max, it doesn't really make sense in the program. It's something you should build towards, and even then, it takes more than it actually gives you. So I would say, in general, there's really no point in doing this. All right, now let's get into the training split. You are training 6 days per week with Sunday off. Abdominals are trained every single day. Monday and Thursday, you're training chest and back. Tuesday and Friday, you're training shoulders, biceps, triceps, and forearms. And then Wednesday and Saturday, you're training legs and calves. Now, you could argue that the calves are sort of part of the legs, therefore they didn't need to write the word calves, but that's sort of pedantic and semantics, but then again, I'm a pedantic semantic person. So I actually don't mind the split. In fact, I actually kind of like it. You're training everything twice per week. You have Monday, chest and back. The next day is shoulders and arms. And yes, they're going to be fatigued from the work on the day before, but there are smaller muscle groups. They recover a little bit more quickly, and it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Then Wednesday/Saturday, you have legs. And so you're putting sort of an easier day, the arm and shoulders, in between the torso and the leg day. So that actually makes a lot of sense, and I don't hate it. Then they have a section on diet and supplementation, which is honestly just an opportunity to push the supplements that Muscle Farm has shitted out. Shat out. Don't know the past tense of shit.
This is a shout out.
You have eggs, you have bacon, you have bread, meat, veggies, almonds, sweet potatoes, brown rice, obviously brown rice because white rice is absolutely terrible, right? Then you have cottage cheese and almonds before bed. And then you have the supplements, Iron Pack, Iron Pump, Iron Cree 3, which they were actually super underdosing, by the way. They put 1 gram of creatine in their creatine product. Iron Mass with milk, Iron Mass with milk, and then before bed you have Iron Dream, which I haven't looked into the formulation, but I assume it's complete shit as well. All right, now let's get into the exercises. Monday and Thursday, you have chest and back. So for chest, they have flat barbell bench press, incline barbell bench press, and then exercise 3 is a superset dumbbell flies with dumbbell pullovers. Okay, so these are tried and true movements, the basics. I would like to have a little bit of variability. It looks like Monday and Thursday are exactly the same. For back, it has wide grip chin-ups, superset of 2 of the following: bent over rows, dumbbell rows, and T-bar rows. Those are all fine movements. Then it has you do abs as well. This is fine, in terms of exercise selection. Again, I would like a little bit of variability. There are so many good rowing variations, so many good pushing variations that to just stick with only a few, the same exactly on both parts of the week, doesn't really make a lot of sense. The rep ranges also vary a little bit per week, and they're exactly the same with every single movement. So week 1 is 30, 12, 10, 8, 6. I guess the 30 is sort of a warm-up. I hope it's a warm-up, not just an all-out set. Week 2 is 30, 8, 6, 4, 2. Now that 2 is an issue because every single movement is done for the same amount of reps. So you're doing dumbbell flies for a set of 2. You're doing a double on flies and then a double on dumbbell pullovers. That does not make any sense at all. Even a set of 4, even a set of 6 is a little bit too low for an isolation movement like that. So clearly, they did not really think this through. Week 3 is 30, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. So 6 sets of 5. And then week 4 is to max out on either incline or flat, then 20, 15, and 12 on the others. So this is a lot of volume, and I am generally not a fan of switching up the rep ranges dramatically every single week. There's really not much point in doing that, and you're better in most cases to have consistency. Plus, they are not manipulating the rep ranges to be suitable for the exercises. So your rep ranges on something like a flat barbell bench press should not be the same as something like a dumbbell fly. That is honestly just so fucking lazy. They couldn't even just write out what exercise uses what rep range. They just put the same rep range on every single movement. Ridiculously lazy and bad. Furthermore, they alter the angle of the incline barbell press every single week. So week 1 is low angle, then medium angle, then high angle, then week 4, you're back to low angle. So you're not only changing the rep ranges every single week to confuse the muscle, right? But you're altering the angle as well.
I am altering the angle. Pray I don't alter it any further.
And anyone who has done incline bench press, followed by bench press, followed by decline, you'll know that it's a little bit weird. You do flat and you switch to incline and you're like, oh shit, I'm pressing in a different angle. Doing that every single week really doesn't make a lot of sense. For back, you start out with 4 sets to failure on wide grip chins, and then on the other ones, you have exactly the same rep ranges. So you have this 8, 6, 4, 2 on week 2, which again, doing doubles on dumbbell rows or T-bar rows or any kind of row does not make sense. Okay, most people will end up cheating significantly, and even if you don't, it doesn't make sense still. Okay, if you're training for hypertrophy, doubles are not going to be optimal, and they don't make any sense. And if it's a sub-maximal double, it's still a double, and so it still doesn't make a lot of sense. Plus, the way Arnold typically trains, he did this antagonist training, so chest and back together. One is pushing, one is pulling, one is rowing, etc. He did them alternated. That's why he combined them. There's no mention of alternating them in this program. It just says chest and then back and then finishing off with abs. So there's no mention of actually doing it the way Arnold did. Next up, shoulders on Tuesday and Friday, and they actually have different exercises on Tuesday and Friday, which is good and which they should do for chest and back. You want different exercises earlier and later in the week to help you recover and to give you a different training stimulus. So Tuesday it has clean and press for 5 sets of 5, and Friday it has Arnold press for 5 sets of 5. Now 5 sets of 5 is a little bit low for Arnold press, but it's doable. Now for clean and press, they don't say if it's clean and press, etc., or if it's clean, press. Okay, so that is definitely a big difference. If you clean and press, it kind of becomes cardio instead of actually training your shoulders. So I hope it's clean and press, but it doesn't actually specify. Then on Tuesday, you have superset dumbbell press with a full frontal raise. Don't hate that. Superset lateral raises with upright rows. That's sort of a tried and true strategy, completely fine. Friday, you have behind the neck press with a full frontal raise. Not everyone is going to have the mobility to overhead press behind the neck, but it's also not the worst thing in the world. Superset rear delt flies with upright rows. Again, that's fine. However, again, the rep range on week 2, 30, 8, 6, 4, 2. So it's telling you to do a double on lateral raises and then a double on upright rows. A double on dumbbell press and then a double on a full frontal raise. Or rear delt raises or behind the neck press. None of these exercises are suitable for a double at all. Even a set of 4, heck, even a set of 6 is way too low in rep range for most of these exercises, regardless of if you train for strength or for size, but especially for size. So this doesn't make any sense and is just incredibly poorly written. Then you have biceps, you have barbell curls, great movement, excellent choice, standard movement, none of this, Humiston bullshit. Shots fired. Then you have a superset seated incline 2-arm dumbbell curls with concentration curl. Here's the issue with that. So you're supersetting a 2-arm movement with a 1-arm movement. So you finish your dumbbell curls with both arms, incline dumbbell curls. Then, which arm do you start with? Do you go with righty, the tried and true, the familiar one? Or do you, mix it up a little bit? You go with lefty, you get a little bit of a stranger kind of feeling. 2 very different stimuli. Plus, what do you know? 8, 6, 4, 2 shows up again. So you're doing a double on seated incline 2-arm dumbbell curls, supersetted with a double on concentration curls. Who the fuck wrote this? Plus, weeks 2 and 3, it has this 1-10 method. So you're maxing out on barbell curls for a single, then a double, then a triple, then a quadruple, then a quintuple, all the way down to a set of 10. That is not smart. Then you have triceps, close grip bench press, and then later is a superset barbell skull crushers with a 1-arm extension. So again, you're going from a 2-arm movement to a 1-arm movement, and you have to choose which side you do. That is going to be a very different stimuli for the different arms. So if you start with the right arm, it's still fatigued, and then the left arm, it actually gives it a chance to recover, making it a different type of stimulus. And then on Friday, it is a superset of a tricep pushdown with a 1-arm overhead dumbbell extension again. So same issue, 2 arms, and then supersetted with a 1-arm exercise. Like, what do you alternate? Which arm you start with every single set? Either way, it's a stupid idea. Plus, both Tuesday and Friday, you're starting with a close grip bench press. That is a great movement. However, the day before, you did a shitload of volume on flat and incline and flies. And now you're just going to work your chest again? That doesn't make any sense at all and is just poorly written out. You need to take that into account when you are writing out a training program. A closed grip bench press is not just triceps. It's also shoulders. It's also quite a bit of chest. Plus, again, 8, 6, 4, goddamn 2. So they just threw in the same rep range for every single exercise in the program. Then you finish off with forearms, a superset of wrist curls with reversed wrist curls. So, nothing wrong with that. Rep ranges are fine, except for, what do you know, 8, 6, motherfucking 4, 2. Then you finish off with abs, 5 sets of 25. Now, I would like to have biceps and triceps alternated. Again, that's the whole point of putting them together, so that you can optimize your time efficiency and do them either supersetted or at least alternated. Forearms, again, I think it's good that they included this, but the rep ranges don't make any sense at all. Then finishing off with abs, again, I would actually rather put these in the program alternated with something else. Just doing 5 sets of 25 on decline 3/4 sit-ups or Roman chair whatever's, hanging leg raises, it's just a waste of time. You're better off putting those into the program during your recovery from other movements. Then we move on to legs, and this is where it gets truly ridiculous. Arnold stayed with 5 sets of 8 to 12 reps. Wednesday, you're doing squats, 5 sets of 8 to 12 reps, which is already a shitload, especially if they're all out. It says like, go intense, go hard, Arnold trained super hard, you need to train super hard as well. 5 sets of 8 to 12 is a lot on squats. Followed by straight-legged deadlifts, followed by good mornings, one of the days, so either Wednesday or Saturday, which is good to give you a slight break, I guess. You'll need it. Followed by lunges, 5 sets of 8 to 12 reps, followed by a superset of leg extensions with leg curls. Saturday, front squats, deadlifts, good mornings, one of those days, and then lunges and leg extensions or leg curls supersetted together. That is overkill. That is a lot. It actually does say for deadlifts, do 10, 6, 4, or 5, 5, 5, or 12, 10, 8. So it's only 3 sets versus the 5 for everything else. But even so, all of those have issues. Okay, if you're doing a 5, 5, 5, one of those sets, or probably 2 of those sets at least, you are sandbagging, or you're reducing the weight, but it doesn't really give you a clear path for what you're actually doing. Plus, honestly, that's overkill. That is just ridiculous amounts of volume. Then you move on to calves, 5 sets of 8 to 12 on standing, supersetted with 5 sets of 8 to 12 on seated calf raises. So that's not too bad, but it's still a little bit overkill. Finishing up with abs, 4 sets of 25 reps on the kneeling cable crunch. I actually really like this movement, but again, you're probably better off putting it into like the cracks of the rest of the workout rather than just finishing with 100 reps more or less in a row. So overall, there is some good and some bad. Let's start with the good. First, the exercise selection is actually really good. A lot of basic movements, some isolation, mostly compound, and just there are no bad exercises here. They all actually make sense, and it's all stuff that Arnold actually used and that almost everyone should include in their program. I also don't mind the split. Torso, and then shoulders and arms, and then legs, and then repeated. So you're getting twice per week, and you're getting enough recovery, at least you would if the volume was reasonable. Next, and this is sort of good and bad, a little bit mixed, is the exercise order. Typically speaking, they start with the biggest exercises, but also they are not clear on if you should be alternating chest and back or supersetting chest and back, which is what Arnold actually did. Plus, the ab stuff could be thrown into the workout as you have time to do it, which I think is more time efficient and just makes more sense. You have shoulders, then arms, and then forearms, then abs. Overall, that exercise order makes sense. But again, you have close grip work the day after doing a shitload of normal bench pressing, which doesn't really make any sense at all. If you're doing torso followed by arms, it should be more isolation type of arm movement, just because you're working your torso muscles again when they're already smashed from the absurd amount of volume. Now, the leg days are fairly decently set up in terms of the structure. You have your squats or front squats, followed by your straight leg deadlifts or deadlifts, followed by good mornings, but not every single day, which is fine, followed by single leg work, lunges, followed by isolation, leg extensions, and leg curls. So that structure makes a lot of sense. The big problem is the ridiculous amounts of volume, which brings me to the bad. And the biggest bad is the volume. So let me read out how much volume is actually being done in this program. On average, chest, 40 sets per week. Not kidding, 40 sets per week. Shoulders, 50 sets per week. Arms, 30 for triceps, 30 for biceps, 20 for forearms per week. Legs, 53 sets per week. Abs, 28 sets per week. Calves, 20 sets per week. And back, 28 sets per week. Add that all together, and that is 299 sets per week. So well over 1,000 sets during this month-long training cycle. Do I really have to go into how that's excessive? Because it is. Straight up, if you are natural, if you are actually pushing each set close to failure and actually working hard each set, this is complete and total overkill. Number 2, the awful and extremely poorly thought out and just lazily planned rep ranges. There's nothing wrong with starting with a set of 30, but it needs to be extremely sub-maximal, okay? It needs to be literally a warm-up for the other sets. It doesn't say that anywhere. It just says like, intensity, brah, Arnold push really hard, you need to work super hard, and you're gonna get so freaking swole with our supplements and shit. No, okay, a set of 30 doesn't really make sense, especially at the start of a workout. At the end, as a finisher, even then probably not, but at least you could just go home afterwards. Next, 8642. If I haven't made it clear yet, I absolutely hate that on a lot of these isolation movements. On a squat, it makes sense. Bench press, deadlift, an overhead press, maybe even on pull-ups. But on these isolation movements, you're going to do superset lateral raises for a double with upright rows? Really? You think Arnold did that? You really think Arnold did doubles on flies? Find me a video of Arnold doing this isolation type of stuff for a set of 2. And it's very clear that they just took the same rep ranges and put them for everything. In my book, I specify exactly what rep ranges are suitable for every single exercise. And trust me, doubles on lateral raises is not a thing. It should not be a thing. And I saw this program years ago, and I thought the same thing back then, like 5 or 6 years ago, when I was just sort of starting lifting weights. I saw like a set of 2 in lateral raises, and even then I was like, how are they fucking selling this? Like, how is this, people are actually buying this shit? Next, you have changing the rep ranges every single week, and then changing the angle of the incline every single week. I'm pretty sure Arnold didn't do that. I'm like 95% sure or more that he didn't actually do a lot of the stuff that is in this plan. And it is a crying shame that his name is still on this. And honestly, it's kind of embarrassing. And, you know, maybe he didn't see it, he wasn't involved in the process, but a lot of how he actually trained is not this. This is not Arnold's training. And they try to pass it off as Arnold's training. They say, you know, so if you plan to train like you're building a legacy, just follow in Arnold's footsteps. That's the last sentence in the program. But this is not the way Arnold did things at all. Next, the supplement pushing that is in the program. They are pretty forceful. There's entire pages completely devoted to supplements. I know Arnold had a partnership with Muscle Farm. Guess what? It fell through because Muscle Farm was underdosing their supplements. They would list 40 grams of protein on the label, when in reality it had less than half of that. Their creatine product, you need 5 grams of creatine to have an effective dose. They had 1. Yeah, fuck you, consumer, pretty much. And so Arnold actually disbanded their partnership because they didn't reach their sales goals. And I'm sure he was actually happy that they didn't reach their sales goals because they got sued and they lost. And I'm actually pretty shocked that they're still selling this on their website. You have to sign up for their subscription. Plot twist, I didn't. It's $7 per month. Bodybuilding.com has some extremely mixed content. A lot of it is absolutely trash. Some of it is okay. A small, very small chunk is actually good. But overall, it's extremely mixed. And you would expect them to do better as a website called Bodybuilding.com, one of the biggest websites in bodybuilding. It's really a shame. And why didn't I pay for it? Because you can find it on their website for free. Yeah, if you search Arnold Blueprint to Mass, the third result is a free PDF on bodybuilding.com. And so I opted not to pay for it because they were giving it away for free, as well as charging for it. Good job, guys. Body Fit subscription. Become part of a badass community. That's right, you deserve it. More like dumbass community. Commit to fitness. I hate that marketing where it's like, make a commitment, make the investment in yourself. Buying a shitty program is not an investment in yourself. Okay? I also like how it has 5 stars from 1 review. In other news, smooth transition, my book has 4.7 stars and hundreds of reviews. So if you want to actually learn how to make your own program and not fall for bullshit like this and be able to sniff out the crap in the industry and actually find out what is going to work for you, you owe it to yourself to commit and invest in yourself and get my book. Boom. Anyway, that's all for this video. It's a very sort of mediocre program, as you couldn't tell. I give it 2.5, 3/4 stars. Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, it's got an almost improvisational tone.
It's in theaters now, coming this summer.
Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are not already, turn on notifications, all that good stuff, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.